One really interesting metaphor that we've been thinking about is how people think about the economy. The economy means lots of things to different people. It means a different thing to a politician who's trying to get elected or trying to make an argument, to what it might mean to someone experiencing debt or experiencing being laid off from a job. There are lots of different conceptions of what the economy means. It means a different thing to economists themselves than it might do to the media. But what metaphors are there that are in use there? Well, very commonly we talk about growth. So economy is, seen as something that grows. Now, plants grow and gardens grow, but also cancer grows, right? So there are obviously different forms of growth and different metaphors for that. Equally, there are also common metaphors around the economy as a kind of fixed thing, like a bucket or a kind of tank of stuff. So some people are putting money in, some are taking it out or draining the system. And these kind of metaphors are very common in media discussions of economies. Now, they're kind of incompatible, perhaps, but there are different ways of framing the understanding. If you took the garden idea, what would it look like for an economy actually to be thought of more like a garden? Gardens have lots of different plants in them that grow at different rates. They require tending to. It's not necessarily a wild place. It's somewhere where there's active involvement in tending to those plants to make sure that some of them fruit in the way we want, and maybe others don't shade each other out. We have to prepare the soil to make sure that certain things will grow better. You can make decisions to weed certain things out. You can make decisions about who's allowed in the garden and who can take fruit from it, who can enjoy the flowers and so on. And so lots of these sort of metaphors around that, like they're not necessarily presuming that there's a particular way of doing it, but you can imagine that if we rethought of economies as gardens more commonly, maybe central banks become like seed banks, whatever that would mean. Or maybe there's an idea that rather than just quantifying the effects in terms of GDP or something like that, we thought about metaphors around which seedlings are protected or which saplings are protected in this garden. There's no obvious right measure of what's a good garden. It's something that's experiential. It's something where there are different criteria for different people. It's almost like a family of metaphors that we could use. And it's not to say that that's the right answer, that we should think of economies as gardens, but that using that technique as a way of reframing thinking about it could offer possibilities for different forms of policy design, could offer different possibilities for different kinds of interface even, different kinds of ways of visualizing some of those aspects. It's a way of generating ideas for new types of framings rather than necessarily being a solution.